Hey guys, welcome back. DeFi, degens, Drip, and Farm for Poverty. I'm your host, Drip Coach, dropping knowledge bombs on all Forex Shark related projects. And today's video is not specific to Forex, but it's specific to our entire Drip ecosystem and the Binance Smart Chain as a whole, and specifically related to the Binance centralized exchange. So unless you've been living under a rock, you probably have heard about the implications and stuff going on with CZ and Binance. And this is all tied on the heels of the SBF being arrested. And this is not our first rodeo with Binance and allegations and things of that nature. Binance has been around since 2017. They were hacked way back when, but they did recover funds, or at least recouped and got back on track. And they didn't overextend in 2021. And they've recently published some of their assets during a audit, right? But what I find shocking or interesting is that this all is tied around the Sam Bankman-Fried case. And as of right now, there's Kevin O'Leary literally out there blaming basically Binance for the collapse of FTX. So we're going to actually watch that clip from Kevin O'Leary, and then also get into some other positive news of things in the crypto world and what I think this actually is, and should you be concerned, basically. So you can do a Google search and find tons of stories on this, mainly talking about the withdrawals that have come off. But before we get into these withdrawals and what the DOJ is looking at doing with Binance, let's listen to Kevin O'Leary give his testimony at the Senate Banking Committee hearing when he was asked about what happened to FTX. I find this very, very interesting, and I'm going to explain why after we listen to what he said personally.
Directly, you were an investor in FTX, and I know you've spoken frequently with Sam Bankman-Fried over an extended period of time. Why do you believe FTX failed?
I have an opinion. I don't have the records. Here it is. After my accounts were stripped of all of their assets and all of the accounting and trade information, I couldn't get answers from any of the executives in the firm, so I simply called Sam Bankman-Fried and said, "Where is the money, Sam?" He said he had been refused access to the servers. He no longer knew. I said, "Okay, let's step back. This is a simple case in my mind of where did the money go?" And I said, "Sam, walk me back 24 months. Tell me the use of proceeds of the assets of your company. Where did you spend it?" And then he told me about a transaction that occurred over the last 24 months, the repurchase of his shares from Binance, his competitor. I didn't know this at the time, but at some point, CZ or Binance, who runs Binance, purchased 20% ownership in Sam Bankman-Fried's firm for seed stock. And then over time, and I asked him, what would compel you to spend $2 billion was the number he was giving me at that time. Later in a subsequent conversation, about 24 hours later, he told me it could have been as much as $3 billion to buy back the shares from CZ. I asked him, what would compel you to do that? Why wouldn't you keep your assets on your balance sheet? And why would you offer this to just one shareholder? He said, because every time we went to get licensed in different jurisdictions, because you must understand the prize of crypto is to get regulated. For all the talk we say about Bitcoin and everything else, no institutions own this. I work for the sovereign wealth and pension plans. They don't touch this stuff because it's unregulated. Between these two, let's call them frenemies, because they obviously were potentially the two largest shareholders in the firm, they had a disagreement. They had a falling apart. Apparently, according to Sam Bankman-Fried, CZ would not comply with the regulators' request in these different geographies, these different jurisdictions, to provide the data that would clear them for a license. He withheld it, according to Sam Bankman-Fried. The only option the management and Sam Bankman-Fried had was to buy him out at an extraordinary valuation of close to $32 billion, less apparently a 15% discount. That stripped the balance sheet of assets. You ask me why it went bankrupt? Go to the last week. All of a sudden, in social media, CZ is asking for another $500 million. He wants to do a block trade of FTT, or the proprietary token of FTX, wants it converted back to fiat. Why would you put that out there? You know it's going to push down the pressure. It's going to push down the value of that coin dramatically. And that's exactly what happened. Every trader knows if you have...
All right, we will leave it there, but you can see clearly that Kevin O'Leary is pushing the agenda that it's all pretty much Binance's fault, even though CZ in a couple of posts a few days back mentioned that this happened months ago. And as Kevin O'Leary just stated, it was 20%. That is not cause for your crypto exchange to collapse 2 years later. And additionally, remember, assets are meant to be held 1-to-1. That is the big thing nobody is actually voicing. The fact that they were over leveraged meant that they were taking the collateral and loaning it out and taking leverage on it. When you put your assets in an exchange, they're supposed to keep it 1-to-1. A bank run does not exist. They keep using this to kind of blow smoke and mirrors for regulation and stuff. There's no such thing as a bank run, because if there's only 21 million Bitcoin, you can't have extra. So if an exchange owned 21 million of it, then only 21 million can be withdrawn. If 22 million can be withdrawn, then they have made fake Bitcoin. And that's exactly what has happened. And that's how they collapsed and how they lost all their money. Additionally, ironically, Kevin O'Leary was paid $15 million from FTX. And the money he lost was the money he was paid to be a spokesperson. So it's a very interesting to me that this is the route he's taking. And I want to play one other clip that really buttons this up. So I personally feel like this is a bit of smoke and mirrors, and there's a hidden agenda in this coming from the powers that be. And that's why we're seeing this being pushed. I don't know what the end agenda is regarding regulation and stuff, but here is an article or an interview that was 2 weeks ago where I don't remember this guy's name, but he asked Kevin O'Leary if he would still invest in FTX. This is after everything has come out. So right after the collapse and everything else. Just a quick message, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss another video. This helps bring brand awareness to the channel as well as all Forex Shark related projects. Thank you. Let's listen to that.
If SPF knocked on your door again and said, look, I failed in my last venture. I have a new crypto venture. I need money. Would you back him?
That's a great question. No one's asked me yet. I think we can all admit, you can love him or hate him given what's happened, but he was one of the most brilliant traders in the crypto universe. He also built one of the most robust platforms. We used FTX actively. It was a very robust platform that allowed us to get information on a compliant basis. So I really like what he built.
Would you back him?
The answer would be yes.
If SPF knocked on your...
Now that is crazy. So literally, the balance sheets have been exposed with fraud and money laundering and all these things. And he was paid $15 million and he still says that he would back SPF. So yeah, I think all of this played out like it was supposed to. Do I believe that there was some backdoor deals or things going on, and you know, CZ may have was looking to basically checkmate the whole game of crypto and did it at the expense of FTX? Yeah, of course, that's business, right? So is it right or wrong? I'm not going to say, but I definitely believe if you are a titan in the space, you're an exchange, and you're trying to become number one, then there are going to be some things that are going to be counterproductive for your competition, right? So I don't know what the deals were or whatever the case may be, but the point is, regardless, the assets were not backed 1-to-1, and that's what caused the bank run. And if CZ decided to make a deal to get bought out and SBF agreed to that deal, then that's on SBF, you know, and that's on his investment prowess going forward to ensure that that $2 billion or $3 billion that he paid could be made back, you know, a year or 2 years later. And again, what needs to be asked is, why is Kevin O'Leary, someone who's paid $15 million, saying these things and still willing to back this person even after what we have seen? So CZ has been tweeting basically on all this stuff. So reference the withdrawals that were happening. He said things seem to have stabilized. Yesterday was not the highest withdrawals we processed, not even top 5. We processed more during Luna or FTX crashes. Now deposits are coming back in. So basically he's saying that even with all of this stuff going on in the news right now about them, this is not even in the top 5 of what they have faced. Remember, again, they've been around since 2017. So he doesn't seem phased. Is there some stuff probably behind the scenes that we don't know about with the centralized exchange of Binance? Probably so, but we can't really say what that will be or how that will shake up. But one other cool thing to look at is this Nansen article. If you're not familiar with Nansen, you can actually come here and look at entities and view their portfolio. And Binance is indeed the top dog with 60 billion in assets, and it's literally more in assets than all of the other exchanges combined. Well, it was 60 billion at the start of this article, or start of my video. Right now it says 57, but either way, they are definitely the biggest and now most aggressive, expanding as well. They don't show, there goes 60. They don't show Coinbase on this one, but when you add all these together, like crypto.com was 3 some odd billion. This is like 2.5. So all these combined do not add up to Binance. So they definitely are a behemoth and a titan in the space, and they have been aggressively expanding, and they do have regulation in other areas. So what does all this mean for the future of Binance as we know it in regards to how it affects us? Well, remember, the Binance exchange is different from the Binance chain, smart chain. So we operate on a crypto blockchain that is run with the BNB token, but there's about 30 some odd validators that run that chain. So same thing that happened with Terra Luna. The exchange, for lack of a better word, with Terra Luna collapsed and the UST token collapsed, but the existing blockchain is still running because those validators, think of them as like Bitcoin miners basically. So they have a job and they're getting paid, you know, and they're getting paid in that asset or that token, and that depends on the price of it. But I think we're actually still sitting in a pretty position going forward that, yes, the Binance exchange may see some volatility and ultimately may have to pay some fines or fees. And that's what this article is about. The DOJ looking at either indictment or either just letting it go completely or paying a fine. So I think what will happen with this is that Binance will end up paying a fine. That's the middle ground, and more regulation on the US exchange. They've already checked all the boxes, dotted the I's, crossed the T's for the Binance.us. So I just think it'll become even that much more scrutinized and harder for people in the US to utilize Binance.us. So that short term will be an issue for US citizens, but as far as we are situated on the Binance Smart Chain, I don't foresee this actually being a problem. And I think all of this was actually well orchestrated by CZ to take that #1 spot. And I think people like Kevin O'Leary, Sam Bankman-Fried, paying all the money to politicians, even $5 million donated to President Biden from the FTX. So there is some backdoor dealings to get crypto regulated in a way that the SEC and the Fed can still be in charge of financial monetary policy and things of that nature. And I think that's exactly what's happening. I can't prove that, but you know, it doesn't take a tinfoil hat to realize that people in power don't give up power very easily. And seeing how Kevin is acting is very, very telling. Like, yeah, you can be bought off for $15 million. But anyway, last but not least, some positive news moving forward for crypto adoption. But before we get into that, a quick plug from our sponsor, a sponsor being me. If you are not familiar with my channel and what I've been doing for a while, I am a certified personal trainer, nutrition coach, and an effort to add in real life utility to Drip, going to be offering this probably through the beginning of next year, because we know the holidays, people tend to fall off the health and fitness wagon, and then they start up brand new come the new year. So message me for more details if you are interested in basically getting online certified personal training, nutrition coaching, lifestyle coaching, things of that nature, and using Drip. So I'll basically be offering an extreme discount if you are going to pay in Drip. So even if you have a loved one or a spouse or somebody else who's not in the Drip ecosystem, but they're looking at getting personal training, you can purchase that for them or show them how to get drip or whatever the case may be. And I will be doing that as the currency, using drip as the currency. So trying to do my part to add utility to drip, and that is a service and skill that I have acquired and can offer that to the community. And for our women, have the exact same thing, but it's a very different kind of training program. It's in our powerful community, so it's geared specifically towards women looking to build strength and confidence in the gym and build those long, lean, feminine curves versus bulky, muscular curves. All right, so that's it for our plug. And the last bit of news I mentioned is that PayPal and MetaMask have agreed to partner up. So according to press release, the partnership between the payments firm and MetaMask developer Consensus is intended to enable users to select PayPal accounts as a payment option to buy ETH with their MetaMask. Interesting, they picked ETH and not Bitcoin. I don't know why, but very, very interesting. Oh yeah, that's right, because MetaMask doesn't directly support the Bitcoin blockchain. All right. This integration with PayPal will allow our US users to not just buy crypto seamlessly through MetaMask, but also to easily explore the Web3 ecosystem, said Consensus producer manager Lorenzo Santos. All right, so that is our video for the day. If it provided some value, smash that HBO special, like, subscribe, comment below, help brother out by doing so. And also curious to get your insight on what you think the future of Binance will be and what all of this SBF, Kevin O'Leary, congressional hearing kind of stuff is really trying to do. What's really going on behind the scenes? Let me know in the comments. Love to just kind of chat that up and see. All right, until next time, guys, lift daily and achieve your impossible. See you.